In this video, I'll be showing you guys how to use a while loop. So a while loop is just like any other loop. Loops in general is just a line or lines of code that allow you to do something until a certain condition is met, or until a certain condition is false or true, depending on what you're dealing with. So that is just loops basically, or in general. That is what loops are used for. Well, you do have infinite loops which run until infinity, but in this case, we'll be dealing with a loop that runs until a certain point or until a certain condition is met. So this is the syntax of a while loop. You write the while, you write the condition. Since it's a while, so while this condition is true, do whatever that is in here or whatever that is within the curly braces. So while this condition is true, do whatever that is here. And when this condition stops being true, continue with the rest of the program. Leave this loop. Don't continue doing what is here. So that is what a while loop does. Okay, there are many kinds of loops. There's a for loop, which we'll deal with it on probably my next video. I don't know. Okay, cool. For example, let's say you want to print out hello world several times on the screen. Well, there are two ways of going about that. The first one, you can write C out hello world 1, C out hello world 2, C out hello world 3 until you get to 100, which will be 100 lines of code, and it will be time consuming unless you're cutting and pasting. But still, this one is the shortest way of doing that. Well, there are many things that you can use while loops for. For example, let me just say, while you are still watching this video, you can subscribe. And once you stop watching this video, you can no longer subscribe. So the condition in that statement is that while you're still watching, you can still subscribe, and subscribing will be what the loop does. Well, sadly, you can only subscribe once, but if YouTube allowed you to subscribe many times, then you could subscribe many times while you're still watching this video. While you're still watching this video, you can subscribe many times, meaning that the statement in that case would be subscribing. So you could subscribe as many times as you want, but as long as you're still watching the video. Get it? So that's the use of the condition and the statement. The condition is the condition, like the thing that you want the code to run while you want, that thing that you allow the code to run while it is true. That's the condition. And then the statement is what your code does. Like, it's actually the body of your loop. Okay, cool. Since I'm done explaining that, let's try printing out hello world 10 times onto our screen so that we can see. So let's start by creating a variable and call it num. Okay, the condition will be while our num variable is less than 10. While our num variable is less than 10, print out hello world to the screen. So while num is less than 10, it's less than or equals to 10. Let's also use the equal sign. It's less than or equals to 10. Do something, and that thing that we want to be done is seeing out hello world. Okay, and then just to keep track of the hello worlds that we're seeing out, let's also see out the num, and then we end the line. Hopefully there isn't any mistake there. Okay, fine. But looking at this code, it has a bug. So now you can see that our num, let me just set our num equals to 0. Now that you can see that our num is 0, we're setting 0, our num equals to 0 in the first line of this code, and then writing this loop. So as you're looking at this, you can see that I'm not doing anything to the num on this entire code. I'm only declaring it here and setting it equals to 0. And meaning that my num will always be less than 10, meaning that this code will run until forever. It will run non-stop. Let's run it and see. Okay, as you can see that it's still printing out hello world and writing hello world into a new line, non-stop. Quite sure this is the 100,000 hello world that is being printed out here. So you see it's going up until infinity. It's not stopping, and it won't stop until I stop the program. Okay, fine. So now we have to do something to our num variable that will make the code run and for as long as we want, so that we can have control on the number of times our hello world gets printed out on the screen. Okay, so we do that by changing the num variable within the while loop. So as for the while, you change the condition or the variable within the while loop. Okay, so we'll say our num is equals to num plus 1. So by doing this, if the code runs for the first time, it will set num equals to 0 plus 1. Sorry, I meant to put a plus here. It will set num to 0 plus 1, and then it runs again. Now num is 1. It will set num to 1 plus 1, and then run again. Now num is 2. It will set num to 2 plus 1, and then run again. Okay, fine. Let's run it and see what we get. Let me put this here. Now you can see that it started by num being 0. Okay, let me just... Okay, fine. I'm sure you can deal with that. Now it has printed num 11 times from 0 until 10. You can see this number. It's just that I forgot to leave a space between the number and the hello world. Can you see that now it printed hello world 11 times, of which now we can control that. Okay, let me just print it for while num is less than or equals to, while num is less than 5. Now we want to print out hello world 5 times onto the screen. Okay, let's run it and see what we get. Okay, fine. Now you can see that hello world 0, hello world 1, hello world 2, 3, 4. It printed out hello world 5 times onto the screen. So that is basically how you use a while loop. You write the same code and you run it multiple times for as long as you want, depending on what you set the condition as. Okay, so that is how you use a while loop, and that's just it to it. Nothing more, nothing less. So please, if this video was useful to you, please subscribe. And if you also, please like if it was useful to you. And then if you'd like to see more content like this, please subscribe. Okay, thank you for watching.